We've spent the last few years being told that our secrets are locked behind these mathematical fortresses so complex it would take 1 billion years for a supercomputer to crack them. We sleep soundly believing the digital walls surrounding our military, our intelligence, and our nuclear command are entirely impenetrable. But what happened in the early months of this year completely shattered that illusion. Every whispered command from the Pentagon, every classified directive sent to a carrier strike group in the Pacific, and every encrypted briefing on the president's desk was being read in real time by a foreign adversary. It's honestly the greatest intelligence failure in American history, and the worst part is, it wasn't a surprise. Someone saw the first domino falling and tried to stop it.
I was actually looking at the technical timeline on that, and you're spot on. What blows my mind is that it wasn't even a traditional hack. At Fort Meade, the NSA thought their shift to post-quantum cryptography was complete and that American communications were entirely future-proof. But this lone senior analyst working in the basement of the Signals Intelligence Directorate noticed a microsecond delay in packet delivery. There were no alarms, no digital footprints, and no malware. It was just a ghost in the machine. He realized the encrypted traffic wasn't being blocked. It was being mirrored. Every bit of data leaving the Pentagon was being silently copied and sent to a destination that didn't exist on any map. The algorithms we spent billions to implement had been quietly compromised from the inside out.
That matches up perfectly with how the bureaucratic ego allowed the damage to become total. When he took those findings to his superiors, expecting a national security emergency lockdown, he just met a wall of arrogance. The leadership at the NSA couldn't accept that their flagship security initiative had failed, so they told him his data was skewed, that his concerns were mathematically improbable, and that raising the alarm would cause unnecessary panic in the middle of a delicate geopolitical standoff. But while the directors sat in their leather chairs, the adversary was already capitalizing on it in the physical world. Remember those naval exercises in the South China Sea where foreign fleets responded with eerie, pinpoint precision? They knew the American maneuvers before the captains on the ships did.
Exactly, and that specific South China Sea leak is what makes complete sense when you look at the next part of the log. The breaking point was when the analysts discovered the breach extended to the red line communications, the ultra-secure channels used for nuclear command and control. At that moment, it became an existential threat because if the adversary can read those codes, they can potentially spoof them. That's why he bypassed his superiors, took a cache of encrypted evidence, and vanished into the night to contact congressional oversight. It forced Washington to face a haunting reality. The most powerful military on Earth had been operating in a glass house for over 14 months. Every strategic plan, every undercover asset, and every technological blueprint was already in enemy hands.
Which bridges exactly into that insane quiet hot swap of the entire cryptographic infrastructure mid-year that everyone was whispering about. Doing a hot swap without a total communications blackout is effectively impossible, so for 48 hours, the United States military went completely dark. Ships at sea went to radio silence, and embassies were told to destroy their digital keys while the world literally held its breath. The adversary knew we were trying to change the locks, and for a moment, we stood on the precipice of a conflict born purely from total information dominance.
And that brings us right back to the underlying problem we see today. The networks have been rebuilt, the encryption has been changed, and they are telling us once again that we are safe and the vault is secure. But the real takeaway from this isn't the technology, it's the human element. The real danger was the silence of the officials who traded national security for a few more months of professional comfort. You just know that somewhere right now, in a secure room, there is another analyst looking at a screen, noticing a tiny discrepancy, and wondering if anyone will actually have the courage to listen this time, or if we are just waiting for the silence to tell us that everything has been exposed to the light again.